My name is Roman Aristi. I am the marketing leader for MarketScan business here at Merative. And for those of you who are new to the world of real-world data and real-world evidence, MarketScan is a premium portfolio of research-grade data, services, and tools designed to help companies like Organon to accelerate and ease their research activities. The MarketScan research database is one of the largest and longest-running closed claims data in the US, with a remarkable level of completeness and representativeness, along with true healthcare costs and an extensive longitudinal patient view. It is really a pleasure today to welcome Krishna Tangirala, Head of Outcome Research Data Analytics, and Esteban Jenkins, owner of the Advanced Analytics product line. Both are making us the honor to share their journey using real-world data in the cloud and the experience using MarketScan. Krishna and Esteban, it's really good to have you with us today.
Thank you, Roman. Thank you for having me. I'm excited about the opportunity Merative provided. I'm Krishna Tangirala. I'm Director, Head of Outcomes Research, Data Analytics at Organon. I have over 20 years of experience with health economics and outcomes research. I have in-depth experience in developing and executing real-world research for pipeline, launch, and post-launch products to demonstrate the value to regulators, payers, healthcare professionals, and also to patients. I have a good demonstrated track record of posters, abstracts, and manuscripts in the peer-reviewed journals. I joined Organon in September of 2021. Prior to Organon, I worked at Bayer Pharmaceuticals, Sanofi, Eli Lilly, Teva, Otsuka. I'm in this industry for almost like 15, 20 years. So that's me. Thank you for having me.
Good. And hello, Roman. Hello, all the audience. My name is Esteban Jenkins. I am from Costa Rica. My background is more on the computer science and data engineering side. I studied both in Costa Rica and in the Czech Republic. And I have been working, developing internal web applications, desktop applications. I've done also some work with data science and statistical analysis, deploying and managing infrastructure, as well as some other computer science tasks. I have been a part of Organon since its spin-off. It was in June 2021. And since then, I have been in charge of the Advanced Analytics product line. What we do is basically keeping all the infrastructure and tools that our colleagues need to do advanced analytics work, like the one that Krishna does, for example, as well as maintaining a center of excellence, to help our users use to the best the tools we have and to have a community around advanced analytics topics. And again, it's a pleasure being here today with all of you. Thanks, Roman, also for the invitation.
No, I mean, the pleasure is really all ours. Thank you both for taking the time. So how would you introduce Organon to someone maybe unfamiliar with its reputation in the industry?
Oh, I can take this. So Organon is a global pharmaceutical company formed through Merck spin-off in June of 2021. It is a purpose-driven company focusing on improving women's health. I'm not sure if everybody knows, but just 4% of all healthcare research is focused on women's health issues. And women is often underrepresented in most of the clinical trials. There are only 9 drugs ever approved by FDA and is marketed in the United States for obstetrical indications, and 2 of them are no longer valid, right? So from day one, we were asking women what are the most overlooked areas in women's health care. So we received hundreds of responses, and we are using those responses to inform how we can better address the healthcare needs. We have a bold ambition to help reduce 120 million unintended pregnancies by 2030. So Organon has a portfolio of over 60 medicines and products in therapeutic areas, including women's healthcare, biosimilars, and established products. Women's healthcare includes contraception, fertility treatments, hormonal therapies, solutions for menopause management. So that's briefly about Organon. Yeah.
Well, this is great. So, you obviously have a very broad portfolio. Maybe can you describe a little bit more the type of research you're using real-world data for?
Sure. Well, I'm in health economics and outcomes research. We also call it as an HEOR or even outcomes research. Health economics and outcomes research, it's a complementary to clinical trials in guiding the healthcare coverage and access decisions. Clinical trials look into the safety and efficacy, whereas HER demonstrate the value and impact of the product. Clinical trials are highly regulated environment, but HER takes a broader view of the financial impact, like patients' quality of life and patient satisfaction. So it looks at the broader view of the healthcare research that we have. So our objective, my department objective, is to provide the outcomes research in executing the internal projects in a timely fashion and highest quality and the scientific rigor. Well, HER is used by the physicians to understand the prescribing patterns. It's also used to how the drugs are performed in the real world. So at Organon, we support even the clinical trials, providing the outcomes research input at the peri-launch, where we look into economic models, budget impact models, and value dossiers. In the post-launch, we look at the treatment landscape and the cost-effective analysis. And basically, even if we need to include the label extensions, we look into that, ultimately providing the life cycle of a product, supporting. Well, within Organon, we integrate with various disciplines such as market access, reimbursement, pricing, contracting, and the policy and development. Well, I have the 5 people reporting under me, like 2 are full-time positions and 2 are consultants, and we also interact with the external data vendors and consultants and even KOLs to do the research. Yeah.
So clearly, it sounds like you have a huge need for real-world data across the development drug cycle, right? Could you tell us what led you to choose a cross-claim database like MarketScan as your partner for your research studies?
Sure. We actually look into various databases. It includes claims, EMR, and also the registry data, right? But MarketScan is a research-grade database, one of the largest and longest-running data sets that we have in US. It's clearly differentiated itself by the precision of the data it has. Right, it has remarkable level of completeness, representativeness that I have seen the data and the consistency over the period of time, and it has like the true healthcare cost that included within the database itself, and it has a longitudinal view of the patient, so I can actually track the patients over the period of time. It has its own advantage because it has commercial within the database. We have the Medicaid, and we also have the Medicare within the database. There is also health productivity component that provides information on absenteeism, long-term disability, and short-term disability that are very important when we do the real-world research. So certainly markets can have an advantage when compared to the databases that we have.
Great, thank you for clarifying. So research doesn't happen by itself, right? It requires people and a lot of work. And based on what you share, you have a sizable team that you need to do those research. How easy it is to provide them access to the data they need for their work?
Yeah, it's a good question, Romain. We have various databases in house, and the challenge is how to access all this data at the same time. So I have like 5 consultants, in full-time positions working under me, but everybody need to access the data at the same time. So we basically rely on the business technology team to provide access to this data. And Esteban, you can feel free to chime in here.
Yeah, sure. So it was funny because when we started here at Organon, we didn't have much for advanced analytics, even data storage. We have very limited options. So by the time we got the MarketScan database for the first time, we were using just as file-based database, and we were granting permissions on a user basis. So it was quite a tedious task. But as we evolved, we started doing some migration and changing the architecture of the whole advanced analytics components. And right now it's quite easy. We manage access directly via Active Directory groups. So, if Krishna wants access for himself or one of his colleagues, he just raises a request that there's an automated process that will add that person to the group. And the access is basically immediate. So we started from being a tedious task by the way we were managing things at Spinoff to a fully automated way right now using Active Directory groups. So it's been a journey.
It certainly sounds like it. So you guys went through a spin-off, right? Does that mean that when you started out, you didn't have already all the infrastructure you needed?
Well, yeah, that's true. At least for the advanced analytics, like all the data science and statistical analysis, we didn't have anything. So, you know, our focus to spin off were other items, and nobody really looked at this during the spin-off process. So when I got here, also we didn't have anything, and Krishna and other groups also came to our group saying, hey, we need something, especially at least in Krishna's case, for example, there was a hard requirement for SaaS, because for the line of work he does, SaaS is a requirement. And he had data, specifically like the MarketScan database, and he had nowhere to host it. And he's like, man, I need you to do work. How can we do? And we were evaluating several possibilities, but at the end we decided to have all of these in-house, at least for the beginning, instead of outsourcing any of it. We started with a small deployment of a SaaS server and using the existing NFS, network file system, to store the files from MarketScan. Was quite primitive at the beginning, but at least, you know, it allowed the team of Krishna and other groups to start working while we, you know, were designing the future. And again, that was a couple of years ago. Since then, we have changed almost everything. We no longer have that SaaS server. We moved from on-premise application and on-premise old software to being cloud native, using cloud native solutions. Just to give an example, well, we moved from PC SaaS and SaaS server to SaaS Via, which is cloud native. The storage, instead of using the NFS, we're using now Snowflake as our database for advanced analytics. All of those are cloud native solutions. Several Amazon AWS services. So all these has allowed us to, well, several things. One, to reduce costs in general, to make the data and the work of our colleagues more efficient, because, you know, there is small things, but for example, there is less time to move data from one place to another. There is less time to process the data because we have more powerful and scalable infrastructure. And yeah, it has been a journey. We started with nothing, and progressively working together with Krishna and all the other groups at Organon that have advanced analytics needs, we have been, you know, shaping the future of Organon in this regard.
Yeah, I think you touched to a lot of things here. You know, starting with the fact that you started with a file, right? So we're not, I mean, people I'm sure know that in the audience, but we're not talking about small files here. We're talking about sets of files that are terabytes big, and that's just for MarketScan. So, and you know, I'm sure you guys are using multiple database. So maybe zooming back a bit on the challenge, you know, what really trigger your move from on-site to the cloud. You know, what exactly are the challenges that the researcher had running the study and accessing the data?
That's a great question, Roman. Like, you know, for me, time is money, right? You know, we want to access the data as soon as the data is ready. Now currently there is a time lag, like, you know, when we get the data and then we have to use the FTP and then upload the data to the server, and then you know, there is a validation process that occurs, right? I don't want any modifications to the raw data. You know, it should be uploaded as it is to the database, right? So that's one of the challenges that we have, and also we need to get the snapshots of the data if needed. I also need to reproduce the data for a project, like, data should be logged. We cannot change the data over the period of time. And also my team accessing the data at the same time. The system, there is a lag in the system. Sometimes we see the slow when they are running the program. So those were the challenges that we have when we work with these large databases such as MarketScan. And also the other challenge we have is, like, currently some of my team members would like to use the integrated tools such as, like, Power BI, or, like, connected to the Snowflake. So currently, that's also one of the challenges that we have, right? So yeah, those were the daily challenges that we have when we work with this data.
And what about you, Esteban, from an IT point of view?
Yeah, so our challenges were directly related to Krishna's challenges, as well as part of the infrastructure we had in place. I was mentioning that at the beginning we were having all these terabytes of data stored in network file system, and also at some point even in elastic block storage. That's like the hard drive or the volumes that are attached to servers in Amazon. And both of those options were very expensive for these large amounts of data, not only because of the storage, but the way it was working is the whole data set, these big files that can be even terabytes of data, were completely moved to the SAS server for processing. That's network traffic, and that was driving also costs up, apart from the normal storage cost. So that was one of the challenges. We wanted to reduce that cost because it was just way too high in general for all the real world data we have. Then also on the topic of the storage was the scalability, because we had to raise a request to another group every time we were reaching like 80% or 90% capacity, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to ingest a new set of files or from the database when there was an update from MarketScan, for example. Not the problem, but Krishna's requirements was also that he wanted to have all the different versions, as he was mentioning, of the database, because it's important for him to have reproducible research. Like, you need to be able to reproduce the results of what you do, and that requires having versioned data. So the cost and the storage space were one of the biggest challenges that we needed to sort out for the future, because it was just not scalable. The data will continue to grow, and we cannot spend that huge amount of money just on storing data and using it in not efficient manners. And then which other challenge we have? Well, making the data available to users. Krishna mentioned about the FTP server. That's because at the beginning, we were getting all the data updates, specifically from for MarketScan via FTP. So, we would get a notification, hey, there's the new version of the data. Then we had to raise an internal request to other group that manages the FTP connections. Hey, please ingest this data. Then we get it into our systems, and then we make it available to the users. This process was taking usually about a week. I mean, it's just making data available. And we agreed this was not good for Krishna's challenges and objectives, because he wants to have the data as soon as possible. As he was mentioning, time is money in his world, and we want to be able to support them. So I would say those were the three biggest challenges. Again, just making a recap: the cost of storing that huge amount of data, the elasticity of the medium where we store this data, and making the data available fast to the users. Maybe one other challenge was making this data available in other tools and for other users, because so far we were focused on access to SAS, and for this we were using the SAS data format. but there are many other tools and people and use cases that would benefit from this data. So we wanted to expand the ways the data can be consumed. So those were the challenges.
That's really fantastic. A lot of details here. I think a lot of people can, identify themselves here on the call. So when we talk about the cloud, people are at different place in their journey in the cloud, right? And clearly, you guys had a set of challenges you were to address, and I'm trying to walk the audience through maybe the different steps that led you from on-site, a cloud migration, and then eventually Snowflake, which is also a cloud environment. But what was your thought process when you look at all that situation, and all the challenges? It's like, you give up, uncle? What exactly is your thought process to attack the problem?
Well, first we took a look at what we had at Organon. Again, we in the advanced analytics area and even data storage for analytics, we were in a clean state. We were able to choose more or less what we wanted, subject to some restrictions, of course. And I think our team did a good job mapping the future. And one of the tools we selected was also Snowflake for the data storage of advanced analytics work. So was also then meeting with Krishna and other groups to see, hey, what are the requirements and the needs that you have to make this work? So for example, one of Krishna's requirement was the versioning of data. Then, okay, how can we implement that in Snowflake? Or if we really need to look at other tool, but that was not the case. Who are the users who might want in the future to use this data? What are the tools they are using? So, it was like this brainstorming of ideas to make sure what we were building would work for Krishna and would be able to work for the broader set of users. And at the end, right now, for example, we're able to offer this data for users using, like Python, R, just Snowflake in the web interface, SAS Via, Power BI, many other tools that we were not able to do before. When new users come and they will ask for the data, most likely the tools they are using already has an interface with Snowflake. That's one of the reasons why we chose Snowflake, because how open it is to access. I don't know, Krishna, if you have some other comments about how we have looked through this situation to help define the future of our platform.
No, those are the important points, Esteban. As you said, for me, the quality of the data is important, right? When we get the data from the vendor, I don't want anything to change the raw data that we have. It should be the same format. And then there should not be any delay while accessing the data, right? So normally, getting the data, if I get it different format, let's say we got a data in the CSV format, now we have to change that into the SAS format, and then we have to validate. So that time lag is actually create some kind of confusion in even necessity, right? So depending on the project, sometimes I need to access the data quick. So how do we do it, right? So that's one of the challenges. And moving to cloud, we can actually eliminate that entire process. And also, as you said, opportunity to work with other tools such as Power BI. Some of my folks, they actually wanted to work with the R, Python. So having the integration with the other tools, that would actually help us with the research that what we are currently doing. And as you said, the versions of data, right? Sometimes I need to log the data set. I need to use it for the project. So let's log the data for a year. The other time I need the cross-sectional view. So I want the latest data that we want to have on the server, right? So those were the things that actually, led us to move, I believe, to the cloud. And I'm happy now we have that cloud, we can actually, processing the data faster, and my team is able to complete the projects on time. So.
Yeah, maybe just to add, I was mentioning also that we started doing the migration of the data to Snowflake. As part of also this thought process, we reached out to Merative saying, hey, we have some questions about how to version the data in Snowflake, because we're already implementing all this internally. And in one of these conversations, again with Merative, was like, hey, but we're planning to release the same database in Snowflake. So we're like, cool. So let's join forces there, and we work together to help streamline the delivery of this data this way. And right now, it's actually like it's I think it served all of us. We didn't have to develop everything from scratch. I believe you, Merative, you also have like inputs from users of the database to help build a solution that will also be scalable or can be useful for other companies as well who might need the data. So that was like a funny anecdote while moving the MarketScan database to the cloud, to Snowflake at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a perfect timing in a lot of ways. We have, internal work going on, and when we connected on that, on that project, that was just a big win-win, I think, for everybody here. And so now your MarketScan is moving to Snowflake, and I think Krishna, I heard you saying that a lot of different tools to run the analysis are used, and that doesn't change, right? It's kind of a little bit of beauty. You keep using the tools you had. It's just now it's reaching out to the Snowflake instance directly, and it's putting the data seamlessly. So that's for what I guess I would say that doesn't change. Yeah. And I think I heard a bit of what's better, but I don't want to make you repeat. But do you want maybe emphasize maybe things that are surprises that you didn't expect in the change that the move to Snowflake brought that you're glad today to have?
Yeah, I totally agree on that, Ruben. Like for me, it is seamless, right? So earlier, like it used to be another process. Now we switched to Snowflake. In the front end, I don't see any of that, right? So the beauty of it is now the system is faster. My team members can access the database at the same time. I don't see any slow in the server side, right? So we can do the projects on time, and also I don't have to worry about the data format. Earlier, like if it's another like changing from CSV to SAS or having another format, there's a lag time. Now I don't see that at all on the front end, and as we discussed, like versioning of data is important. In MarketScan, we do have the versions flag that I can actually use it. So in case I need to log the data, I can actually use a certain version, and then I can use the same data. Or if I want to use the latest one, I can change easily use the flag to use that. So for me, it is seamless. It's better, and I'm glad that we moved to the cloud. And I'm actually asking Esteban, why don't we move all the databases to Snowflake, right? The way that we currently have. And I'm glad, like Merative, they took the initiative, and I'm glad it's working very well for both of us.
Good. So, I think our audience now has a better understanding of your real-world journey in the cloud, and I would like to close the discussion by asking you both to share maybe some word of wisdom or key learning, if you will, along maybe some advice that you want to share with our audience.
Yeah, I would say that we always need to adapt to the new technologies that we have, such as Snowflake, right? So and then the collaboration between the researchers and the BT, like with Esteban, and even with the data vendors like you is very important, right? How do we make it better? So having that, we need to have that question first, and then we can find an answer, right? So I'm glad that we took that initiative to move into the Snowflake. We are changing, we're looking to the ways how we can make it better, how we can avoid certain delays that we currently have within the deliveries. And not just that, like even within Merative, like you can link this Merative to other databases. I'm glad that you have that opportunity, right? Currently within the Merative, we can link it to the social determinants of health data from Robert Wood Johnson. I believe that is the first time that we are looking into this linking, right? So that would help us to broaden our research. The currently we can do the health economics, health resource use, the cost. We can look at the treatment patterns, but how about the patient's quality of life? Right, so that came into the picture only because Merative, we are able to link it to the social determinants of health data. So this is great. Like the way we are working with Merative and you're helping us. It's actually taking us to the next level. So that's what I would like to say. Yeah.
Thank you, Krishna, for kind words. Esteban, any comment?
Yeah. From my side, I would echo especially the collaboration part, in the sense that I believe it's important, for example, my organization in business technology, PT, to be familiar with the work that our internal customers, in this case, for example, Krishna, are doing, and the other way around. Also, it's important for our users to understand even some basic items of the platform, how it works, how it's architected, why things are done that way. No need to be an expert in the topics, but that will help, like the whole company make better solutions, adopt newer technologies, and work together in a better way. Like now I know in a good level of detail what Krishna is doing, what are his challenges, what are his problems, and he also understands what are my challenges and my problems when we are designing a solution. We're able to speak, the same language, and no need to go every time explaining what is what, because there are a lot of acronyms and words in each other's worlds, and we need to have a common ground where we can design together. And this applies not only internally, but also with vendors like Merative. It's good to have this collaboration and know what's happening in both areas. Like if we would know about you guys also developing the Snowflake solution, we would have been doing duplicated work, like the same. And at the end, we could have joint efforts like we did and come to a better solution that is faster for everybody to get. So I think that's my key learning and advice: to collaborate, to get to know what other people are doing, to talk, to be open with what you are doing.
I think that's a good advice. When you're involved in research and you need real world data, just reach to your vendor. I mean, they may be doing things that you don't know, and they may help you down the road. Reaching out doesn't commit you to anything, but at least you learn, and you can also evaluate if they're good fit for your culture and for a long-term partnership. So I truly believe that reaching out and talking is key. All right, well, Krishna, Esteban, thank you for sharing your story. I have no doubt that you have helped many people on this call today, to better understand the challenge and reward of your journey using reward data in the cloud. At this time, we're going to address some questions that came during our discussion. Let me check here the chat box quickly. All right, I'm gonna read out loud here. Thank you for sharing your experience. You had an extensive journey to the cloud. Do you think it would be hard today to jump right away from on-prem data storage to a Snowflake platform? Okay. Which one?
I can take this one.
All right.
So depends. Are we talking about like a big company, or I don't know, like small or medium? What type of company? I don't know if the person can clarify.
Good question, actually. If the person on the call would be kind enough to precise. Small, mid-sized firm.
Okay. I would say that yes, it definitely makes sense to move to cloud native solutions like Snowflake. Doesn't need to be specifically Snowflake, but Snowflake is a good choice. Having these type of solutions reduced, like the cost of maintenance. Like for example, it's software as a service, so you don't need to worry about basically anything. There are some people that think that it's actually quite expensive. it is true if you don't control it, as with everything. But you have to just have a good understanding of how it works and set the right quotas. But it makes life easier. You don't need to dedicate the whole team to maintaining the system. You don't need to keep track of making the data available to different users in different format. You just offer one interface. And more vendors are making integrations with these software as a service providers, to connect data with other applications. It just works better than if you were to do everything on your own. Now, why I was asking about the size of the company, if it's like a huge or big company, it's not that easy. There are already a lot of processes that each company has that would need to be remade to adopt to this new interface. That can take time and can take money. So I would be more cautious about making the immediate jump. But for small companies or even medium-sized companies, I would tell them, go right away, jump right away. The sooner the better, and you will be able to save money, well, if you manage properly, but more importantly, to exploit better the value of the data you have.
Good. I think that was a pretty exhaustive answer. pretty extensive. Thank you so much for that. Let me look. We have another one. So, have you linked MarketScan with other databases? I guess maybe Krishna, that's
I can take this
for you.
It's a great question, right? One database cannot answer all the questions, that's for sure, right? And these some of these databases are insurance claims. They're not designed for the research purpose, right? But we have a lot of challenges when we use these databases, especially for research. So the challenge is some of the databases is a claims database, right? The other database is like an EMR database. And we also have inpatient hospital database. So when we answer these questions, say, hey, if it is an inpatient, what will happen if the patient discharged from the hospital, go outside, can we track this patient, right? And that cannot be available in the database that we are looking for. For MarketScan, MarketScan is great. It has all payer types of data in it, and also the long-term and short-term disability. But we also are looking at social determinants of health, for example, right? We are looking at what is the financial status of the patient, what is the quality of life, and are the patients using alcohol, tobacco that we can control as a covariate in the modeling. So that information is not available. So currently, we are looking into linking MarketScan with social determinants of health with the Robert Wood Johnson. I believe that is the first time that you guys are doing for us, but that's great, right? That can be linkable now. So once it is linked, not just the cost or the research utilization, I will also be able to look into the patient's quality of life. So I heard MarketScan can also be linked to the other databases such as Premier. So yeah, we can obviously any questions that such I have for linking, I always reach out to you guys, and I'm glad that you are able to look into that, and then you're able to find an answer for it. So yeah, certainly MarketScan can be linkable to other databases. So that's something that we need to look into always when we do certain types of research. So
yeah, and so thank you for your answer, Krishna. I would maybe add to that MarketScan can be used for it's the financial layer of your research, but then you need to add. Depending on the research, you might need to enrich it with another database. And I think you mentioned a couple that you guys were looking for. I would say, if anybody is looking to link MarketScan with another database, reach out to us. Let us know if we've done it already in the past. And I would say it's pre-linked, basically. If somebody wants it, it's already available. You don't have to wait for a few months for all the compliance and regulatory process, make sure the link data are HIPAA compliant and everything to happen. If it has been done with someone, it is it is most likely already available. And also for us as a company, it teaches us what are the other databases out there that that our customer wants to use, right? So it's also, I would say, a win-win, right? We learn from each other, and one work is done, then other can benefit. Thank you. I just wanted to add that quick comment on that. Well, Krishna, Esteban, thank you again for sharing your story. It was truly a treat to have you today. Thank you to the audience for your time and participation today, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Roman. Thank you, audience. Have a great day.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.